In this recording, I want to go over some concepts, first of all, about mail merge. A little bit in the next recording, we'll talk about how to do the mail merge, but in this recording, I want to talk more about the concepts. So the first thing we're going to do is open up my notes to page 9, and in there is a diagram that I stole out of the book that shows the concepts fairly well. What we're doing with mail merge is combining a data source. And that data source often has people's names and addresses. I think every example in the book has people's names and addresses, and then a few other things. Combine that with a main document. So we have a data source. And that data source can be a Word table, it can be an Excel spreadsheet, it can be an Access database, and Microsoft Word, as you'll see in the book, even has a way to allow you to create these data sources from within Microsoft Word as well. So we take the data source and we merge it using our merge process with a main document. As we'll see in just a second when I do an example, this main document has placeholders or fields in the Word document that are plugged in from the data source. So the fields are replaced for the values in the data source, and when you do the merge, it combines them into one document. Now this image might mislead you a little bit. It looks like there's multiple documents, but there's not. This is really a multiple page document. So here the data source, kind of hard to see, but it has 1, 2, 3 records. The top there are just headings. 1, 2, 3 records. If I merge that with this main document, I would get a copy of this document for every record in the data source. Page 1 would be for the first record. And then it would take the second record, merge it with this page, and make it page 2. And then it would take the third record, merge it with this main document, and create page 3, and so on. Some of these can be quite long. Mail merge, I've used it a lot. Just a couple of examples. The first example was many years ago. Mail merge has been around for quite a while. I used mail merge to send recruiting letters to people. And as an Air Force recruiter, I was recruiting lots of high school students, and instead of generating my form letter and then going in and modifying everybody's name and address and what kind of scholarship they were applying for, those kinds of things, I had a data source, a main document, and I merged them, and it made life a lot easier. Now at Midstate, I use a data source that includes all of the graduates for a given semester, and I have a main document that is nothing but name cards. Avery Labels makes these big name cards, and I merge those so that the data source has the names and the programs that the graduates are graduating from. I merge that, and it generates these name cards for me so that I don't have to worry about it. I then use the same data source with a different main document that generates raffle tickets. Not really raffle tickets. We'll call it a prize drawing ticket for each one of the graduates. I just put their name into a document, slice up all the little names and throw them into a hat, and they get prizes after graduation rehearsal. But instead of me typing all the names over and over and over again, or even pasting them from here, I merge them. They're already in the right place. I don't waste a lot of paper. I just have to cut them out when I'm done. So those are a couple of examples for mail merge, used a lot in business for sending form letters. So let's do a quick example. In the recording support files that you should have in your Word student files, there are a bunch of files here to support this unit's recordings. I'm going to be taking a look at the main. First, let's take a look at elephant data. Well, this is a silly example that I found on the web. Somebody is running an elephant adoption service. Hard to imagine. I guess it's supposed to be funny, but here's the example of the data, and this is an Excel spreadsheet. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this could be a Word table. This could be an Access database. Your data can come from many different types of sources, including typing in your own in Microsoft Word. So what I have here is for every one of my potential adoptees, I have their first name and their last name and their address and their city, state, and their phone number. I have all that information in the database, and then I want to merge this with a main document. That's what the book calls them. I've seen other books call them master documents. But here's the main document for my demo, and it already has some merge fields in it. Now the first thing it says is, hey, when you created this, you linked it to the elephant data source. Do you want to continue to use that link? Yes. So I've already created this as a merge document, and it says, where'd your data source go? So now I have to go find it. So let me pause and connect it here. We'll learn how to do this again in a second. what happened was I moved my data source from my master location to the desktop of my recording location here, and so then the link to that didn't work. So here's my data file, and that should restore the link. And here's my main document, Elephants Are Us, got a logo, and inside here we've got a place where I've inserted some text. That's what it looks like. But if I go to the Mailings tab, I can say highlight my merge fields, and you can see these gray fields are merge fields. This Mary Smith data has been brought in from the database. Now I probably should have this preview turned off for a second. It'll let me. There it goes. And what's really in here is a field name. Remember, the columns in the Excel spreadsheet had field names, first name, last name, address, etc. What I inserted, and again you'll see how to do this in the next recording, what I did is inserted these merge fields from the database. And notice here's first name, here's first name, here's first name. You can use the first name, any field, over and over and over again. Here's the city, here's the city. Okay, so now I have this form letter. I have a bunch of people in my database who have applied to be elephant adoptees, and I want to send them this standard letter saying, sounds good, get yourself ready, buy some peanuts and a large shovel, haha, let's move on. So now I have my data source and I have my main document. As you saw when I opened this, I can preview it, and this currently is record number 3, so I can see what my document's going to look like before I merge it. I have not merged it yet. I still have my 2 separate documents. This is a preview. To merge, we hit the Finish and Merge button, and we say, give me individual documents. Notice that you can immediately send this to the printer. That's a little risky. If you have any errors in your messages or in your letters and then you print them, you've just wasted a bunch of paper. And same thing with email. You can send lots of emails using this. I usually do a different technique for that. So in the homework assignments and in all my recordings, all we're going to be doing is creating individual documents. Which records do you want? I'll take them all. And now I have a new document. Notice the title up here. I had 2 documents. Here's my main document. But when I merged the 2 together, it created a new document called Letters 1. Okay. And this has 3 pages, 1 for each one of the people in my database. So there's Mary Smith, and there's Jill Stevens, and there's Richard Rogers. Right. So there's more than that people. We'll keep going, keep scrolling, and there's lots and lots of people in my database. I think there were 6 or 7 or so in there. We got a page for every one of those. If I want to now, this is just a Word document. I can go in and edit this, and I say I happen to know this guy kind of personally, so I want to put the word Tom in there. This is a Word document. You don't even have to save it. Once you've proofread it, you can just print it now. It's kind of like a print preview, and it will print all of these pages. So this is a Word document. It is customizable. This is that merged version. I took the data and this main document and turned it into a merged document. And if I wanted to, I could save this. The book uses the terminology main document for the document that has all these field placeholders in it. Remember, I'm going to say placeholders. That's different than what we did in the templates chapter where we use content controls. These are fields that are going to be filled in from the database. That's in the main document. And that's what the book calls them. I think that's a good idea. The main document is what we create everything from. And then when you merge them, they put the word merged in there, and that lets you know that they've already been combined. By the way, notice that these letters have no fields in them whatsoever. All the fields have been replaced by the actual text from the database. So there's no fields here. It's another way you can tell merged documents from main documents, and merged documents have multiple copies of the main document on separate pages. So those are kind of the main concepts of mail merge. Hopefully that'll help you understand the future lessons a little bit better.